Are you ready to double your real estate sales and grow your business like never before? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Real Estate Matters, hosted by Matt Curtis, leader of the #1 real estate team in Alabama for the last 6 years. With over 8,000 homes sold and more than 4,000 five-star reviews, Matt's proven strategies speak for themselves. Ready to double your sales with expert strategies? Let's dive in. This is Real Estate Matters. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Matters podcast. I'm your host, Clark Dunn, here with Matt Curtis and Matt Curtis Real Estate.
Yeah, it's excited about this one, especially like if you're a new agent or you're struggling. Like here's to us like the 5 reasons why agents aren't successful. And what is it? I think it's like 84% of agents get out of the business in the first 5 years. We don't want that to happen to you. And here's, the playbook on how to not let it happen to you.
Yeah. So starting at number 5, talk a little bit about no training, kind of the training aspect that real estate agents don't really think about when they jump into this.
Yeah. So training is incredibly important. You've got to know what to say. You got to know what to do. You got to have some direction. And really one of the challenges, years ago as we switched to these high commission split models, it was great for some agents, but the downside was the broker, is now broke and he had to go out and sell, or she had to go out and sell, and there was nobody there to pay to train. And, they have, monthly training or weekly training, and what do? They just bring a vendor partner in, they're basically just getting sold the whole time. And so, training is a huge, huge component, and we make that a foundation on our team. So when a new agent joins our team, we have what we call our Google Classroom, our MC Academy of training program. And so this is like, the airplane, getting the airplane up in the air. Like, here's the first things that you need to learn to be successful. Here's the technology you need to know. Here's the scripting you need to know. Here's how to do a buyer consultation. Here's how you do a buyer showing, all these basic things. But it doesn't stop there. And that's why, I think a lot of brokerages struggle too, is, you have a broker and then you got 200 agents. There's no individual support there. And so we have individual, call them sales managers. I kind of think we might need to change their title to like sales coach or something like that. But they're basically like a mentor. You've got the training, you've got a client that they're ready to write a contract. What I do, or I know what to do, but I'm second guessing myself. I just want to make sure somebody else, because this is an important thing. We want to get it right. Can somebody else look over this? And so that's an important part of training. Like anything, anywhere you go, you need to make sure you've got somebody that you can ask questions to. And somebody that's not too busy. You're not a number of 1 of 200, but they're actually going to be able to support you. And then I think one of the things that we do that's so unique, that's so different than a lot of other companies, is we have trainings and masterminds throughout the week. I've had vendors, like our big monthly meeting that we have, which is more like celebration and stuff. I have had vendors come into that meeting, and they come to meetings all across town, all across the state, sometimes even the Southeast. And every single time the vendor says, I've never been to a meeting like yours. Just the way that we run them is just something that's different. It's just kind of one of those things, like if you've got to be there to experience it. But you've got to be able to plug in. A lot of brokerages don't have that. And so you may need to look at, resources like this, podcasts. You might need to look at YouTube videos and other podcasts that are out there, or hiring a coach. That's a big thing, hiring a coach that can kind of coach you through this, or joining a team like ours that has amazing training. Most teams don't have amazing training. You've got to find somebody that actually, everybody's going to say they have training. What if I was interviewing for a team or a real estate brokerage right now, and they're like, oh yeah, what do you offer? I'll offer training. Hey, can I come? Can I experience one of them? And we will do that for new agents. Like, hey, if you're kind of on the fence, you want to come shadow one of our trainings, they'll definitely join after that, because if they go to our training and all the other agents, brokers trainings around town, there's not going to be a comparison. But that's unfortunately a big reason why people wash out, is they just don't get the training support. And, for a lot of agents, they just, and they don't have the money to invest in it themselves. And so you've really got to join a brokerage that has something out there for you.
Yeah. And that kind of transitions well into the next reason, which is the lack of support and accountability. We talked a little bit about the support kind of in the end of that looking at the training, but a lot of it is, I mean, as a real estate agent, you're a solo entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Like you're your own boss within the grand scheme of things.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're juggling so many different balls. In another episode, we talked about a stop doing list. Like you got to have a stop doing list. And so if you're out there doing it yourself, like there's certain things that you're going to have to hire somebody to do and get off your plate. Or, even better, join a team like us that's already figured it out, can do it at economies of scale and get that price where the price makes sense and you're making money. But yeah, again, back to that model, the brokerage model, really high splits, no services. As an agent, you probably don't know how to market. Or if you know how to market, you probably don't have time to market, consistently. Unless you just want to stay up till midnight every night, but that's not going to be sustainable. You may get really, really busy and you're going to need help on the transaction side. You're going to need help putting the signs out. So if you're going to continue to have a successful month after month, year after year, you got to look at what are you doing? Is it sustainable? Because if it's not, you're going to have a month that's really high. You're going to have a month that's really low. Do you want to be on that roller coaster? Or do you want to have, the sort of support behind you to keep it high?
Yeah, and we've talked about this next reason kind of in previous episodes, and it's a really great analogy. But the kind of animal a real estate agent should be. Talk a little bit about being thin-skinned, but being that animal that real estate agents should be, which is a rhino.
Yeah, definitely a rhinoceros is what I would compare a successful agent to. Not just because they're hard charging and all that kind of stuff, but because they have thick skin. If somebody's not ready to buy a home today, don't let it hurt your feelings. People buy homes every decade or so. You're going to have to talk to a lot of people, and some people just aren't ready to buy right now, and you can't take things personally. You gotta give yourself grace. Like as you're a new agent, you're going to fall down. You're going to get your knees dirty or bloody or whatever. You're going to make mistakes, but it's not how many times you fall down. It's how many times do you get back up. Have grace on yourself and have that thick skin that, hey, that was yesterday. I learned from it. We've talked about AI coaching and listening to calls and, kind of going back and looking at, the consultation and the showing you did what you did right, what you didn't do. Learn from it and then put it behind you and move on. Because, if you're going to take every no or read into everything that somebody says, I remember a story where, somebody made a call and it was right before lunch. It was so bad. They got cussed out and hung up on. It was just, one of those calls that, the agent paused and, hey, it's about lunchtime. It's time to go to lunch. They came back after that lunch, accidentally called the same person, but that person was in a different mood, and they went on an appointment and bought a home with that agent. And so sometimes it's not you. You don't know what's going on. The kids could be screaming in the back seat. They could have just had a fight with their spouse. There's just so many things that could be happening. I mean, how many times in our day, are we in a good mood and then we're oh man, we're frustrated. And, if you catch somebody at that wrong time, they're frustrated. Don't give up on the person. It's just hey, it's not me. Something's going on in their life. It sounds like I caught you at a bad time. Is there a better time to call you?
Yeah. And I think we've talked about in so many episodes and why I continue to talk about in future episodes is timing is everything. And you just never know, even as at the agent level, there's times where you're just not feeling it. But a big part of being a real estate agent is going out and getting leads. How can, the last two reasons that, they wash out of real estate is kind of go together. I kind of see is the leads and prospecting. Talk a little bit about those two reasons and, why so many agents fall out because of those things.
Yeah, I would say number two is leads. And you're right. They absolutely do go hand in hand. You could be the best agent in the world, have all the training, 5-star service, you're going to be amazing. But if you don't have anybody to talk to, you don't have anybody to service, then it doesn't matter. And so sometimes people worry so much about, hey, I got to learn all this. I got to learn all this. I'm like, it's okay. You're not going to learn everything. You're going to learn a good base, and then you're going to learn on the way. But you work on the number one real estate team in Alabama. I asked some agents the other day, it's like, is there anything that you've come across that either we didn't have an answer for in training or somebody on our team couldn't answer for you? And the answer was no. So what are you afraid of? Like, get out there, and if you don't know, like, hey, Clark, I don't know, but I'll find the answer. I work for the number one team in Alabama. I have resources. We sold over 8,000 homes. I know somebody knows the answer to this. That's all people care about. Say, I don't know, but are you going to, and sometimes that's even better because you're at that point, you're proving that you're somebody that does what you say, and like you follow up with them. And so that's, to me, that's the biggest thing is, you got to have leads. You got to talk to people, but sometimes people worry about, trying to figure everything out before actually leading into number one. They'll pick up the phone and prospect. Yeah. People will make so many excuses not to prospect. When you first get into real estate, it's amazing. You've had this W-2 job. You got to show up 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 or whatever every week. And you do that, and you have off days and vacation days. And then all of a sudden you're the master of your own schedule. And then everything out of the blue, all of a sudden everybody gets sick, and every emergency in life happens when you first get your real estate license. Because sometimes people think, oh, well, they've got a flexible schedule. They can take this week off and do this, or they can do this or do that. So sometimes it's, not setting boundaries, allowing other people to take advantage of that kind of quote unquote freedom. But the thing is, if you don't get disciplined, you'll wash out, and you'll go back and get that 9 to 5 job. And then the other thing is, sometimes as new real estate agents, we look for an excuse. Oh, squirrel. Like, I don't want to prospect. I'm going to go do this. But if you only do things that you feel like doing, you're not going to get very far in life. Like, feelings are such liars. Like, if we just all acted on our emotions and our feelings, like you wouldn't be very successful as a business person. You would be very successful as a spouse, as a father, all as a friend, all those different things. And so sometimes you got to put your feelings aside, and you got to look at, all right, here's why I'm doing this. Is my why greater than how I'm feeling right now? Yeah, it is. Well, I just need to suck it up, buttercup, and go do it, right? Yeah.
I mean, it's a tough thing because, like you said, when you have that freedom, it's like, as a real estate agent, you don't have any of your clients on retainer. They're not paying you a certain amount every single month, no matter if you do something today or if you don't. You only get paid if you sell a home.
Right.
And so yes, you have the freedom to go on vacation. You have the freedom to pick up a child that's sick at school. But at the end of the day, like, you're not going to be able to do the other things that you want to do unless you do the things that you have to do.
Right.
And making that prospect, having that conversation is so, so important. And I feel like all the conversations, all the podcasts we've done so far leading up to this one is showing you the different elements of, hey, here's how you can be successful in all 5 of these so you don't wash out. But here is how you could wash out of real estate if you don't do these things.
Yeah.
But we'll be sure to have everything in the episode notes with information, links to stuff. So if anyone's interested, finding out more about Matt Curtis Real Estate, potentially joining their team, asking questions, reaching out, buying a home, selling a home, all that information will be in the episode notes.
Awesome.
But I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thank you.
That's a wrap for this episode of Real Estate Matters, helping you double your sales and build a thriving business. But real success is about impact. That's why Matt's team has built over 140 homes for families in Central America, changing lives beyond real estate. Loved what you heard? Subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a fellow agent. For more expert insights, visit mattcurtisrealestate.com or find us on social media at Matt Curtis Real Estate. See you next time on Real Estate Matters.